Hello and welcome to Building the Premier Accounting Firm. I'm your host, Roger Knecht. We're discussing each and every week those various things that you need to be working on as you're building your business, whether it's bookkeeping, accounting, or tax services, to in fact get paid what you're worth and more importantly, offer quality accounting services. In this process, each and every week we have on episodes, guests, individuals to help us actually work on those things that we need to in order to become that leader, that business owner, that accountant, bookkeeper, tax preparer, so as to ensure that we're offering those quality services to our clients. And today's going to be a great discussion. This is someone that I've been looking forward to having. Liz Szporn, she is a guide at Profit First Professionals, where she actually supports the transformation of accounting, bookkeeping, and coaching firms. She's particularly one who loves to work on content and strategy to increase client engagement, starting at the beginning of the sales cycle. Liz has over 20 years of experience as an executive and entrepreneur with a track record of financial success and strong leadership skills. In addition to being a guide, Liz is a co-host on Grow My Accounting Practice podcast. That's with both Mike Michalowicz and Ron Zaharian. She also co-founded Literally, a professional development organization dedicated to educators, where she produces content and curriculum for online and in-person courses and workshops. Liz lives in New Jersey with her husband, 3 children, and 2 dogs. So Liz, welcome to the show.
Thank you, Roger. I'm happy to be here.
This is going to be a lot of fun. So Liz, you and I have interacted a little bit, so we have some history. So this is going to be great. We both are very much a fan of the Profit First philosophy, so we've got a lot to discuss there. But what I want to do is just get a little bit of a background on your coming into the accounting space, your co-founding Literally. Give us an idea of basically your background. What should we know about you?
Sure. So I have been with Profit First for about 3.5 years, and I came here because I was like many of the entrepreneurs throughout the globe who had a nice little pile of money. We had a product and a service that we were selling, and we never exactly paid ourselves. And we said, because we were told through convention that we need to put all the money back in our business. So we get to a point about 3 years in, we have great clients and we're traveling and we're spending a lot of money. It's all in one big pot as we keep our money because, that's where it goes. If you don't know about Profit First, you put it all in one place. And it was almost around the same time, there were 2 business partners and I, and all of our husbands sort of quietly came up to us and said, ladies, we're really proud of you for this business, but we really miss your income. We had left a very large education company where we were executives there, and we got to a point where there was no more upside for us really. And we said, all right, let's we're practically running this place. We could do it again. And we did. And we just didn't know how to pay ourselves. We were like, oh, that's cute. You don't pay yourself as an entrepreneur. Haven't you heard of the doctrine of sacrifice? Come on. And so we got to a point where we said, you know what, actually, let's start looking for a side hustle. And I found the book Profit First, and they were looking for what they called a guide or a Sherpa, which I thought was hilarious. And I was like, sounds like my kind of weirdness. So let me investigate. And the rest is history. I had a nice meeting with Ron. And then my interview was we have a morning huddle, which was at the morning meeting. And then I realized, oh, this is how we could have saved our business. And I to this day know that if we would have had the awareness of the power of Parkinson's law and the ability to create space to pay ourselves and protect ourselves, we would have been in a different place. But the universe had other plans, as it always does,
Well, I love it because Sherpa MI is what resonates, and I get what you're referring to there. The story that you shared, however, regarding your business, I think is one that relates to so many, not only accounting professionals, but many of the clients that we're working with, obviously. Yes. And the way I try to describe it that I feel a lot of people can resonate is those who are parents. It's almost as if your first child is born, and as you work with your business, it's all those same sacrifices that you make with that newborn, where you give up time, your mental health. I mean, you're just giving it all to this kid. You don't sleep much. And in the end, what's happening is you don't take care of yourself. And so it's making that priority within the profit stream to say, you know what, I should be taking something home. And it's nice of your husbands to step in and kind of point out, hey, you're doing a great job. It's wonderful what you're doing, but you're forgetting yourself. It's that ultimate sacrifice. And I think at some point we need to recognize that it's no longer necessary, needed. And
Mm-hmm.
profit is that great indicator of, hey, this is why we're doing it anyway. So let's go ahead and make some money. So the profit first philosophy definitely empowers business owners to make it deliberate and intentional, which is something I'm very much a proponent of. So let's talk a little bit of just profit first in general, just for the listeners. Many
Sure.
of them may not be familiar with either the concept or the philosophy. Why don't you just give us a quick rundown of what that is?
Sure. So profit first in essence is it's not bookkeeping and it's not accounting. It is a behaviorally based cash management system. Many people liken it to, and this is how Ron, after Mike was explaining his book to him years ago before the business existed, Ron said, "Oh, it's basically the envelope system for businesses."
Yeah.
And so the premise is saying, listen, the business should serve you as well as it serves itself. And
Yes.
so it's saying there are opportunities for us to protect ourselves by taking what we call profit. And oftentimes profit is still seen as a dirty word, unfortunately, but we have a little logo that we created that says profit could stand for purpose, it could stand for passion, it could stand for family, it can stand for anything, right? It's basically a protection. And then we allocate money to pay ourselves. As I said, my story is not unique, unfortunately. I just was looking at a profit assessment with a member this morning, and this gentleman is running a business that is bringing in $700,000. He's paid himself $13,000. His office manager is making $85,000. He's paying himself nothing, right? So we're
Yep.
creating space to be able to say, I deserve to be paid as the business owner, especially at the beginning. I'm the only person I have. So let's create space to pay ourselves and then to deliberately anticipate success, which means the more successful we are, that we will have a tax obligation. So let's allocate money to a tax account and say, all right, so these three areas, profit, owners pay, and tax, are for us. They serve us as the business owner. Whatever's left over is going to be given to the business to grow the business. And this is definitely the opposite of what the traditional gap accounting method says, which it says sales minus expenses equals profit. And what we say at Profit First, and what the book says, the Profit First book says, is sales minus profit equals expenses. So basically, we are creating an opportunity to change our business, like the book says too on the cover, from a cash eating monster into a money making machine, and serving and protecting ourselves first so we can grow the business, and then we can hire more people and we can serve more clients, and we can do what we wanted to do when we got into this, which is change the world in some aspect. That's what we all designed to do. And we can't do that without money. So
Yep.
yeah, so it's fun.
I describe it as the golden goose. You've got to raise this goose. You've got to take care of this goose. And in doing so, it becomes basically that business that we're hoping for, which is the golden goose, where it's
Right.
laying those golden eggs. One of the things that you brought up as you were describing all of that is the Parkinson's law. I love this principle. I think it's something that a lot of people don't understand. Why don't you share with us what that consists of?
Sure. I don't ever have the Webster's definition of it, but the way I think about it, but I visualize it anyway. So I picture it as we'll go back into our school days and we say, all right, the teacher assigns you a term paper. You have 2 months to do said term paper. And guess how long it's going to take you to do that term paper, Roger?
2 months.
2
Actually, the day
months.
before the 2 months.
Exactly right.
The second
Praying that
month.
your computer doesn't go down like mine
Yes.
did my senior year. My word processor blew up the night before because I waited. But if you had 1 month, Roger, how long would that term paper take you?
It would take me 1 day less than 1 month.
Correct. Right. So Parkinson's is the concept that what we do depends on how much time or how much money we have. If I have $20 in my pocket, I'll be happy to spend all $20. If I have 10, I'll just spend $10. So, whether it's time or money, what we're saying is that the more time you have, the more time it takes, the more money you have, the more money you spend. So if we can shrink the pots of money in a business, for example, and say, instead of doing what most of us do, so we're leveraging this behavior that we have, which is checking our bank accounts on our phone or on our computer daily. And most business owners make decisions based on that amount of money in that bank account. And if you have one bank account, one large pot of money, you're making decisions about money that you don't really know if it's already been allocated, if it's already been spent, or if it's going to be coming out later today. So we want to help people to shrink those pots of money and be more deliberate about how much we want to spend on certain things. So if you say, I have unlimited amount of money to spend on marketing, you're probably going to spend a ton of money on marketing, as opposed to saying, let's spend 10,000 and see what happens. Okay, we'll spend 10,000. We'll put 10,000 in this pot. And when we get to 10, we're going to stop. Right.
Yep.
So that's essentially Parkinson's in action.
I love it. So one of the things that I think is very helpful in this whole discussion is recognizing that as accountapreneurs, that's the term I use for what we're doing as business owners.
Love it.
Yeah, accountapreneurs, we've got to take what we do as a profession and embrace the entrepreneurship that we have and be business owners. And I love what we're doing here because a lot of what we're discussing applies to us in that capacity as accountapreneurs. But what I want to do now is kind of change the subject and actually move, how does this actually apply to accounting professionals as we work with our clients? How does this actually help us better serve our business owner clients? How does this better empower us as an accounting firm to differentiate ourselves from other accounting related businesses? Mm-hmm. So let's talk about that for a little bit. I mean, there's a transformation that a lot of business owners go through as they're considering, okay, in addition to the bookkeeping services that I'm offering, how do I move maybe into the advisory space? As an accounting professional, how do I move in that CFO advisory space? As a tax professional, how do I get into now working with my clients where they see me as that CFO or advisor, pay me more for a service that I'm able to provide them that makes profit a priority?
Sure. That's a great question. And that's a wonderful, I have the opportunity and the pleasure and the honor of working with people who've asked that question and decided to do something about it every day. So it's one of my favorite topics. And one of the things, I know in this space, it's very common to hear the term CAS, right? Everybody needs to go into, turn my bookkeeping or accounting firm into a client advisory service firm, or I need to stop being seen as a commodity because I can't charge any more money because AI is going to take over my job or something like that. So we see this a lot in bookkeepers and accountants who are saying, I want to do more for my clients. And when we look at how something like a profit strategy service or profit first could be beneficial, is you're actually helping your clients to use that amazing, clear information and data that you collect and you report on and you analyze and move forward with it. Oftentimes what happens is when bookkeepers or accountants are feeling like they're a commodity, it's because they've spent so much time compiling or reconciling or creating reports for their clients who just don't care. They're like, cool, thanks, I'm never going to read it. And as opposed to saying, but wait, I see something coming down the pike and I can help you with this. Let me help you. I see that you're going to run out of money in 2 weeks or 5 weeks or 10 weeks. I can do something with this. I want to do more. And so it's something like being able to look forward and use the data and the beautiful financial reports that people are creating allows them to serve their clients better and more profitably and more sustainably. That's how I see this sort of the intersection of profit first or even profit strategy coming in.
What I'd like to add to that is the fact that as accounting professionals, anything that we can do to increase or improve that unique selling proposition that we're bringing to the market, where we actually help the business owner understand how the services we offer relate to and benefit them. All of a sudden, what we're doing is we're helping them decide why they're going to be paying for accounting services. And it's more than just being compliant. It's more than just getting these financial reports that, you're right, they struggle to know what to do with them. If we can emphasize that what we're doing is in addition to helping them have money in the bank, legally lower their tax liabilities, but also increase their profits, and more importantly, make it so that they're getting paid what they're worth, that resonates with them. And all of a sudden, what we're able to do is take what they're doing on a day-to-day basis and make it financially matter to them. And that individual that you shared at the beginning that pays their office manager $85,000 but takes home $13,000, that's that wake-up call to realize, you know what, that sacrifice is no longer necessary. Let's put yourself on a path, a trajectory that you can start making as much, if not more than that individual you've got running the office. And so it makes it very personable and real. So here's a question for you regarding the accounting profession. As you speak with so many who are considering this profit first philosophy, what do you think holds back some people from moving forward with the idea of integrating profit first as a philosophy into the accounting services they're providing?
I think there is I see a lot of different reasons. One of them is I don't have a certification or I'm not trained to do something, right? So I think they feel like they need to have more experience in something. I'm not quite sure what that thing is yet, that they're not seen as credible. They're only seen as an accountant or a bookkeeper, somebody who's looking, more at the financial data as opposed to the analysis of the data, which is weird and wrong. But I also see there's some people that are saying, I don't know if I actually like people. I don't know if I like my clients, right? And
Uh-huh.
being able to say, I've taken on anyone and anything with a heartbeat, and I don't want to necessarily spend more time with these people. So there's that. So there could be
Uh-huh.
a client
Yep.
mismatch that I see.
Yep.
There's a lot of mindset around how much somebody will pay. And there are a lot of assumptions and head trash about, am I worth it? Is this service worth it? Will
Yeah.
my clients pay when I know John down the street only charges $200 a month? How am I going to double my rates and say pay me $500? And they don't see how they can share that value. So I do see a lot of sales mindset issues and value mindset issues come into play often. And then there's simply team. Many people, we've talked about the fact that it's very hard to hire people or quote unquote good people to be a part of someone's team. So if they're saying, I'm already so busy, I'm already at my max capacity, how am I going to even add something like this on where it's going to take a lot more time, more energy? I mean, being in partnership with your client to focus on their future, the future of their business, to, all the things that advisory can do. That takes time. Do I have time to do this? And so those are sort of the big ones that I see as in addition to just, it's another membership. I've joined a lot of things in the past. I've tried something like this before. So, there's some historical, I won't say trauma, but maybe some historical pain that they had of, I paid $10,000 to a coach who didn't do anything for me, or to a membership that gave me nothing.
Yeah.
So that's sort of what I see. What do you see, Roger?
Well, I see something very similar. Your example of individuals wanting to maybe move in this space, but can't see how they're going to now delegate the work that they're currently doing. So it's overwhelming. How am I going to do this much more with a client? I think that's very true. And that's where it comes to them as a owner of a firm to set up those standard operating procedures that they can later, after they've documented them, now delegate them. And all of a sudden what happens is they're able to grow their company and give individuals, bookkeepers, accountants the opportunity to do more of the compliance work. And in the coming months or years, position themselves as the owner to actually be that one that's working with the clients at that more advisory level. And so all of a sudden, they start to recognize, I don't have to be the bookkeeper when I'm providing bookkeeping services. I can have someone do that. And there's a pathway to that. So here at Universal, one of the things that we're obviously doing is helping train individuals so that they can be those bookkeepers, those tax preparers for the firms, so as to allow the owners to actually have that journey, that path into more of the advisory space. And then I agree with you. I think there's a confusion, a frustration as to how to actually price these types of services.
Yes.
And so being able to address that, we really do want to focus on not just pricing, but how to market, sell it, position it so that you can actually get clients who are willing to pay for these fees. And honestly, once those mind blocks are removed, I think a lot of individuals start to see that they can, in fact, move into this space. And I find it very liberating. I believe working with the business owner is very challenging, but at the same time, very fulfilling, simply because you're getting at that creative space and it's all in the wheelhouse of accounting. So it becomes quite enjoyable because after years of experience, you're starting to put to practice a lot of the things that you can now bring to the table that these years of experience have afforded you the ability to offer your clients. So I'm very much a proponent of it. The other thing I would address with regards to your explanation is you're right. There are those clients that some of the firms take on and they're just great compliance clients, but they don't want to do anything more with them. And you have to figure out what you want to actually do. And that does help you kind of manage your client base in the sense that you're able to say, okay, these clients, all I want to do for them is compliance. They pay well and we can take care of them. But these other clients, I'm more interested in their business model. I'm interested in them as a client. I feel that I can communicate well with them. So I'd like to do more with them. And this is a pathway into getting into that advisory space. Yeah, so a lot of what you shared, I can relate to just because of the conversations I'm having. I'm
Yes, I
just
bet.
happy to say that as a post-secondary school for accounting professionals, we've been in a position of being able to help certify them, give them that path towards what you're describing, and at the end of the day, help them become ultimately these profit first professionals, for example. So I think this is great. Um, I want to talk about something where I think you have a lot of insight. As you've seen businesses implement profit first, do you have any exciting stories, anything as to the fun in bringing, profit first to the clients?
Oh, please. I mean, so eh, oh my gosh, I have so many stories. I don't even know where to start. I have to say, working with our clients and hearing the stories of how they have been able to implement and transform their clients' businesses throughout the pandemic was one of the greatest gifts I've ever been given in my life. I mean, being able to work in my little house in New Jersey and have an opportunity to see people. I work with many of our international members. And so I was seeing this on a global scale
Hmm.
and hearing the relief and hearing the pride in the fact that a business did not have to shut down or terminate any of their employees during COVID because they had an allocation, an emergency fund. They'd been living or running profit first for 2 years in their business was one of the most amazing things I've ever seen. Being able to help people. We have a lot of, not a lot, but I have several members who are helping their clients with an exit strategy,
Yeah.
right? And so there are so many times business owners say, I don't want to do this anymore. I can't, I need out of my business. I don't want to do it anymore, right? For many reasons. Could be cash flow, if working 100 hours a week, I have no team, whatever, all the things, the sticky issues we get into as business owners from time to time. And having business owners be able to prepare their clients to sell their business and then make lots and lots and lots of money on a successful sale simply because what profit first strategy allows is the clarity for a bank, a potential buyer, a broker to see that, yes, indeed, this business runs really well. Not only do they have their SOPs, but look at this. They have consistently paid themselves for the last 5 years, a real wage as the business owner. Oh my gosh. And they have this an emergency fund that they constantly fund and celebrate with. And they've allocated all this money to their to a tax account. So they never are worried about taxes. And they have systems and resources for tracking expenses. And when I asked for all their financials, it was all there. They knew what everything went. They had percentages on how much they spend and how much they don't. That clarity of being able to easily get out of a business when it's time is, like, to me, one of my favorite things that our clients get to do, that I get to help our clients get on a better trajectory, to be able to do whatever they want to do next if they want to do that. But I do have to say the email that came in, many of it, throughout the book, Profit First, people read the book and send Mike email, and he still answers it every day.
Uh-huh.
And there are a lot of questions that come in, but there are so many stories. One of the stories that came in, it was mid 2020, with a client who'd been running Profit First with one of our certified Profit First professional members, sent a note to Mike, something like, I am a restaurateur in the northeast of the country, and I'm the only business in my town that is open right now. We are serving basically our entire town, and we didn't have to terminate anyone, and we were actually able to loan money to other businesses in this town. And it was like the kind of thing where, as a group, we're all just silent crying, that ugly cry face, because you sit there going, this is what we get to do every day, and you just sort of can't believe it. So there are so many amazing transformation stories. But then I get just as excited when I help, like I did this yesterday with a member, and I helped her to see, her pricing was very conservative. And I said, I know you're providing more value from that. Can we just do a quick calculation? And we ran some profit first projection numbers for her. And I said, you're going to help this client get a return of about $130,000 if they just follow your instructions, and you're only charging about 5. Do you feel like you're charging too much now? And she's like, I've never even thought about it like that.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
Right. And so those transformation just from our client or my members is amazing. But then knowing that they then have that empowerment and that confidence to do that with their clients. I mean, this is our mission, is to eradicate entrepreneurial poverty. And we can't do it without our members feeling ready to go and being able to do what they do. So
Exactly.
so fun. So fun.
Well, I can definitely say that the philosophy is very complementary, in my opinion, to the accounting model when done correctly. So
Yes.
I found it very liberating. That's the word I choose to use as I
Yes.
work with my clients. I think it's very liberating in the sense that they actually get a little bit clearer understanding of how profit can be deliberate. And the different accounts, the operating expense, taxes, it allows them to more easily see what's going on in the business and not
Correct.
be caught off guard. So a lot of pluses there.
I mean, honestly, how I describe profit first is, obviously I led with this. It's not bookkeeping. It's not accounting. It is a behaviorally based cash management system that at its essence provides financial clarity for business owners to make better intentional decisions. We so often, the vast majority of all business owners, feel like they have no control in their finances. They have no control in their business. This just is what it is. And that's not true. And so to be able to say, I can see where my money is and I can tell it what I want it to do, is liberating. And it is fascinating. And it is so fun. And that game becomes the most fun game to play of any of them. So it's just clarity to make better decisions. That's it. That's all
Yeah,
it is.
very good. So with that being said, there's a lot of talk in the accounting space. It's been this way for a number of years, of needing to offer more value as well as offer kind of advisory type related services.
Mhm.
And a lot of times the accounting professionals, they struggle to understand what that looks like. So I think Profit First starts to shed some light on what that can consist of. But I wanted to ask the question, and it's similar to the one I asked a little earlier, but I'm thinking you'll give me a little different answer. Why do you feel the accounting professionals struggle to move into the advisory space? You spoke of certifications. We offer, obviously, the professional bookkeeper, professional tax preparer certifications, profit and growth expert certifications. I feel that's no longer as much of an issue simply because I think there's solutions there. You talked about the mindset going into, what do I do? Is there anything more that you feel the accounting professional struggles or wonders as they look at taking this step, other than the time that you also spoke of?
I mean, I really feel it's team and delegating.
Okay.
There are a couple. The biggest one I see is, we have our our firms range in size from solopreneur, one or two person show, all the way to teams of 20 or 30 people. And when I am meeting, I do a lot of the enrollment calls along with Ron to meet potential new members and decide if they're a good fit, and answer any questions and things like that. And aside from the fact that they feel like, I don't know if I have the capacity, it's the team. And then they're afraid of, I'm going to have to train somebody, I'm going to have to delegate, no one can do things as well as I can do them, I don't want to give up control of this. And I think that's one of the bigger ones, is that mindset around team, or even growing beyond what they're comfortable with. I believe there's so much of this, and I'm sure you see this all day too, that is tied up in our mindset. And so with adding more people, there's more headache, there's more money. It feels like to some people it's too big, and it's going to take me out of this comfort zone of, I have my 30 clients and I feel good with that. And that's all I want, which is completely great. But then on the other hand, there's also saying, I don't like these clients. I'm not doing what I feel like I should be doing with my life. And I'm struggling and working too hard and things like that. So I think it comes back to, for me, for the most part, the team and the mindset of over what growth and delegation and training and all of that stuff looks like to bring on an entirely new service, or a perceived entirely new service.
Yeah. So I'm going to add to that two things and get your opinion on each of these. I think the two things that still are outstanding are pricing. A lot of times it's confusion about what is this service that I'm going to be able to charge for and how much is it that I can charge. The other is the fulfillment. Okay, I get a client that's willing to pay me. They're admitting, okay, I see value in what you're offering. I see a need in it. I'll pay your fee. But then the accountant's wondering, okay, 3 months in, what am I doing for this client? What's that relationship look like 6 months in? How often am I meeting with the client? How long am I meeting with the client? Can you give us some context as to both pricing and fulfillment?
Sure. Yeah, we spend a lot of time on both of those, and you're exactly right with the question of I don't know how to price this. It seems really scary. I'm already giving so much away, or I feel like I'm giving so much away. I spend 12 hours a month on just reconciling, and how am I going to add consultation and advisory to that? So that's a big one, and we do spend quite a bit of time on pricing and packages, and many many firms come to us still using an hourly model, and that is exhausting, and you don't win when you have an hourly model. So being able to transfer over to a subscription model or a tiered pricing model where you only have 3 packages, and these 3 packages contain, it's the Goldilocks method is what we call it, but it's I have a gold, a silver, and a bronze. And, the gold has every single thing I could ever do. The silver is the one I could hold to. And then the bronze is very, very little, 3 or 4 things in there. What I see is people throw, because we want to help, because we are pleasers, because we like to serve, they put so much in there, and that leads to the how am I going to fulfill this? Because and the answer is they can't. There's too much in there, and they're doing it because they're afraid, or they don't know how to share the value that they provide. So they think if quantity over quality. So we spend a lot of time on the pricing and helping them increase the quality of what they're saying, the quality of what they're providing. And once people have a clearer idea of the fact that they do not have to do everything, that's a big weight off their shoulders. And then you work on the fulfillment side. And this is where, if you know that every client in this package B gets these 15 things, that's all you have to write SOPs for, right? It's the extra things and the scope creep and all of those things that come in that make people crazy, because they're like, just this one time. Can I just do this one time? Or this person gets these 40 things, but this person doesn't get this. It takes that away. I mean, I'm sure you see this too, Roger, the scope creep and the pleasing of, they just this one time they asked. So yeah, I think that's what gets in the way of fulfillment, is they just keep breaking their own rules, or don't have any.
Yep. Well, for the pricing, what I would add to this is, generally speaking, one of the things that I would clarify is you don't want to actually commingle this with your pricing models for the other services, the bookkeeping, the accounting, the tax planning. What we want to do is actually have the advisory as a separate value. Now, I'm not suggesting that you're actually invoicing your clients multiple times for multiple services. It is still a package deal that they're ultimately going to agree to and pay. So it's a single transaction. But generally speaking, for the advisory, it's about, and this is just what I've experienced, it's about $1,000 to $1,500 more for that service above and beyond any of the other accounting or bookkeeping, tax-related services that you're offering. So at a minimum, it's $1,000 to $1,500 a month. And I've seen it range as high as $2,500 to $3,000. That's a very good average range. I definitely wouldn't suggest anyone is offering advisory services for less than that $1,000, $1,500 a month. The other is more realistic, around that $2,000 to $3,000 range. I think that's more traditional. I have seen individuals that are beyond the $3,000 a month, above and beyond the accounting services that they're also charging for. But I think that gives you some good context of what this can be as a value add to the service packages that you already have and the relationships that you're already experiencing with your clients. It's that additional $1,000 to $1,500 at a minimum in revenue that you're able to generate from these client relationships that you're having. And I think you kind of hit on a very important part. I think a lot of times the accounting, bookkeeping, tax people, what we're doing is we're already providing a lot of these value-added services for free.
Yes.
We're just kind of
Yes.
throwing them into the client relation. And this is a great way to figure out, okay, these things actually have worth and value, and I should be charging for these services because they're just asking questions. I'm meeting with them longer. We're having greater or more in-depth conversations. I should be paid for these things. And therefore, it's an extension, scope creep from the bookkeeping, accounting, tax work that I'm already performing for the client. Now I can bundle it, package it, explain it, and charge for it more intelligently. And then the other thing regarding fulfillment, I liked how you were describing it, but what I would add is in my world, when I'm talking about this, we teach the advisory, we teach the CFO services.
Yes.
And when we teach it, we explain that it can range anywhere between one meeting a month with a client that can range between an hour to 3 hours of time. And then in addition to that, you can have as many as 2 meetings a month, probably no more than an hour each. And generally speaking, what I oftentimes suggest is on a monthly basis, they should be meeting with their clients regarding their financials. So you're having that accounting discussion. And then outside of that is a secondary meeting where you're actually having an advisory conversation. It's more high level, it's more strategy. And so that second meeting is that hour-long meeting outside of the accounting. So 2 distinct meetings that you're having with the client, each an hour long. Generally speaking, that is a great way to fulfill this package of your accounting services in addition to your advisory services. You have that kind of relationship and you're really building something strong that you can have in perpetuity. It can be something that you're doing 6 months, 12 months, 18 months in the future. The question just simply becomes then, what are you having as conversations in those meetings? And Profit First is a great conversation point that if you're implementing that strategy with a client, that's giving you some context for that second meeting all the time. Would you add anything more to what I've just shared?
I love all of that. We're matching on so much of it. And in the one thing I would say in terms of the pricing, one of the things that we start with, and you probably do this too, is we start with income targeting. So we want to help them have an idea of how realistic their own wants are, right? So we'll start with, all right, you want to make $200,000 a year this year. Great.
Yeah.
You personally, owners pay. So
Yeah.
then we back it up and we
Yep.
do a profit assessment and say, all right, so if you want to make $200,000, you're going to need revenue of about $1 million currently, right? So we do some assessment and some analysis on current clients, type of clients, types of service, things like this. You, based on your average price right now, which is $5,000 annually per client, you're going to need 67 more clients or 100 more clients. Is that what you want? Like, oh my gosh, no. So what do you right? So then you sort of help them figure out that they do
Yeah.
need to raise prices or they need to change their target for this year or something like that. So I love the idea of saying, I love the benchmark of 1,000 to 1,500 on top of, but it's also, let's be realistic with where you are. What do you want? Where do you want to go? And then let's build a package and a process that supports where you want to go with your team, with blah, blah, blah. And then the other piece of the hour or two a month, I love the separation. I have many members who do that. One is the a bookkeeping accounting meeting, and the other is the advisory meeting. I think that's great. We also, when we're looking at building packages, we build in time with you, business owner, as a part of the package. And so to your point about we give away so many of the free services. So we have so many people say, I just answer every email and I'll answer the phone all the time for everybody. And we build in response time or response type into our packages, or we encourage members to do that, to say, listen, if you have somebody who's on your basic bronze package, which is great, basic bookkeeping, you may only give them email support and you'll get back to them in 2 days or something, a certain number of time. If you have a gold client who's on that top tier package, they're going to have access to you a lot more often. They're going to actually work with you in, these meetings. But then if they have email or they call you, you're going to call them right back, right? So you're building in, you as the business owner are a part of this expert team. Obviously, you know this, but they should pay to talk to you. Not everybody gets to talk to you. Not everybody gets to talk to the wizard,
Yeah.
And so I like the idea of that, because oftentimes we say, because it's easy for us, it's no big deal. I'll just give it to him. But it's it's very valuable. It's worth it. They're more respectful of your time when they see that you've built in your value into a package too. Like
Yeah.
it holds them more accountable, and they value you differently.
Yep. You've got to value yourself first and be able to explain it before you can
You
expect
got it.
others to.
Amen.
Yeah. Yep. Real quickly, a few side questions here that I'm really excited to be asking you. One, I know that you're speaking at GrowCon. Can you share with everyone what you're going to be addressing at the conference?
Oh, I sure can. I'm going to be talking about how to not be normal. That it is, let's not be a normal bookkeeping and accounting firm. We're going to talk pretty much about some of the things we've touched on today about client advisory services and sort of how to take those first few steps into transforming your firm into an abnormal firm or less than normal. How about that?
How about AB normal?
Yeah.
If everyone understands that context. All right, here's the next question. You've got 2 dogs. What are their names?
Well, I have 2 dogs. The first dog, he's my older of the 2 dogs. His name is Banks, short for Outer Banks Szporn, because
Okay.
we used to name all our dogs after our favorite places. So we had a dog
Okay.
named Tahoe, and now we have a dog named Banks. And then the other dog's name, he's a little Chihuahua mix, and his name is Bruce. And we bought both of them from the what's it called? We adopted them. Oh my gosh, I'm blanking on that word.
Okay.
The dog place. What's it called? I don't know. And his name is Bruce, and we were going to change it, but Bruce sounded so funny as a dog. So we just have to have his name as Bruce. Yep.
Okay, so we got Bruce. So next question. With your children, obviously they're seeing you go through this journey. You've had the entrepreneur spirit about yourself as you've had the leadership business and so forth. What are you hoping your children take from observing you as you've been doing everything you have in the business world?
Oh, that's a great question. I think about that a lot, actually. So I have 2 daughters and a son, and currently they're 17, 15, and 12. And so they've been on this journey with me their whole lives. And I went from, a large corporate structure to taking a big risk and starting our own business. And when we started, literally, I remember having a conversation with them saying it could be a little scary. This is, mom's taking a big risk, dad's taking a big risk, and we're in partnership doing this. And it's not magic. It's not easy. It's not what it looks like on social media. And I remember them being pretty proud of me. There was one conference I went to, and we did basically a road show, and we started at South by Southwest EDU, and then, flew into Austin, and then we drove from Austin to Chicago, and we had, this caravan of all of our booth stuff. And my kids thought that was one of the cooler things that we did, that we were on this, we were blazing these trails, is how we would talk about it. So I hope that they feel confident to realize a dream. I stayed in that previous business, I think, a couple years too long because I was afraid. And so I hope that as they get older and they move into college and beyond, that we can have conversations to say, listen, we're here. You can do this. You can try it. And if it doesn't work the way you planned, that's okay too. So, as far as watching now, they love Profit First. They love the idea of this business. And it's been, Ron and Mike have set up an organization that is very family friendly and is very supportive. And so they're seeing that this is what work can look like. Even if they go into, my oldest is, she's a junior, and she'll be going to college in, 2 years. And so she, at this point says, I want to go into business. And I think so many students see business or financial as going into the big firms. And I love that they have the ability to see my experience as a smaller firm, and my husband's in marketing at a large food business, and they get to see both and to know that there are options. And there's, really the world is their oyster. They just have to decide what they want to do.
Love it. Love it. Well, Liz, this has been a great conversation. I think there's a number of highlights that I can definitely draw upon. So I'm going to wrap things up and come back to you for a closing thought. And before I do that, I do want to share with all the listeners that in the episode description, there are a number of free resources that you'll want to take advantage of. The first that I'd like to point out is that you can actually learn more about Profit First and what it is that it entails for you to actually consider it as something that you would offer your clients. And so you'll find some information there. Liz is offering her LinkedIn connection, encouraging you to connect with her via LinkedIn. I think that's phenomenal. I would do the same, encouraging you to connect with myself. That's one of the things that I definitely want to do is offer that LinkedIn connection. But there are 3 things that you'll want to take advantage of. And these are 3 books that you can use. Every accounting professional should have them as part of their library because they enable you to offer quality accounting services and ultimately help your clients get and keep the profit they deserve. The first of the books is Red to Black in 30 Days. It's a small business accountant's guide to quick turnarounds. That's followed by In the Black, 9 Principles to Make Your Business Profitable. And then once you're profitable, it's the book Profit First by Mike McCallows that you'll definitely want to get a copy of. In doing so, you'll actually get the information you're needing to see how, as an advisor, you can best work with your clients to not only make profit something that is intentional and deliberate, but something that they can deserve and take advantage of. So I encourage you to go to the episode description, make those connections with both Liz and myself, and get those copies of the books Red to Black, In the Black, and Profit First. Now, as a summary of our conversation today, wow, what a great discussion, because I really feel that as accounting professionals, we need to consider what more value add we can offer to our clients, and most importantly, step into that advisory space for our clients. It's definitely a thing that we can do with our expertise, our perspective. We have a perception of their business that's so unique because of our understanding of the accounting and finances that we can go in and actually assist these clients to make profit a deliberate thing, something that they can easily do. I enjoyed Liz going over with Profit First the old idea of the envelope theory. I think that's so practical and something that as older or these younger generations come on the scene, they may not be familiar with. And so I really do believe this is something new and exciting that they can be exposed to. Parkinson's law, very, very true. It's human nature. We obviously put off those things that we can, procrastinate them. And in the end, we're just basically taking the time given to do whatever's task is required of us. And professionally, business-wise, I think it's just inevitable that we're going to experience that in our lives. As for advisory work, I think all the principles that we've been discussing here definitely apply to us in our own companies. I spoke of becoming accountapreneurs, embracing the entrepreneur side of what we're doing as accounting professionals. And in doing so, we should apply these principles in our own business and make profit deliberate and intentional. Pay ourselves. We're deserving of it. There's nothing to suggest we have to be doing this as a charity and a volunteer work. We need to actually run our businesses just as that, a business. And then with that, take these principles to our clients and help them also understand how they can apply these principles in their company and in turn take home a good, decent living, as so many of them should, but too many are not. And I think Liz would agree with me, as Mike has always said, it's all with the intent of eradicating entrepreneurial poverty. And that's what we want to be doing here today. So with all that being said, Liz, what would you like to add as a closing thought?
I just want to help people to understand that they are valuable and worth spending time on themselves, and all the time they spend on themselves and bettering their business can be used to serve other people. Like, we're of service on so many different levels. And as you said earlier, it starts with you. So spending time on understanding the value you provide to your clients with your time, your experience, your expertise, and the strategic advisory that you can give them is it's huge. The world needs it. We need you.
Yes,
That's
yes.
it.
Well, we need to take care of ourselves. And at the end of the day, this is still a people business. We've got clients. We need to see them as individuals. So well said.
Exactly.
In addition to all of this, definitely want to just wrap up by encouraging you to check out the other free resources that are available from Universal Accounting Center. Just go to the episode description and you'll find there some information regarding various free resources that you can utilize as you're running your business. I do want to invite you to GrowCon. It's an annual event for owners of accounting, bookkeeping, and tax businesses. It's here where the CPAs, EAs, accounting professionals gather together and as such learn from one another. It's that peer interaction that we have as we're each running our companies. More importantly, you get to hear from the experts from the stage and also interact with Universal Accounting specifically. I encourage you to get your ticket, come join us and participate at GrowCon. Liz is going to be speaking this time, so this is going to be exciting to have her on stage. And in addition to that, I want to encourage you to, if you haven't already, subscribe to this podcast. If you haven't subscribed, do so. You can find here a number of episodes over the past that you can go back and binge watch on a variety of topics that are specific to your situation, I'm sure. In doing so, you can also set the notification to get notified each and every week when we come out with a new episode that you definitely do not want to miss. In addition to all of this, I also want to encourage you, if you haven't already, reach out to Universal Accounting Center. If you'd like to apply these principles in your business, give us a call. You can contact us at 888-265-3777, or you can also visit us online at universalaccountingschool.com. With all that being said, always remember this: if it's about accounting, it is universal. Be safe, take care, and have a wonderful day.